Hey, it's Liz Ann here from High Vibes Life, and today I would like to talk to you about how to navigate through triggers that may come up within your significant other relationship. How to navigate through it so that you don't spiral down and it doesn't ruin your day, possibly ruin your week, and you can just get a hold of the reins on it and move past it. So stay tuned. I am Liz Ann, creator of High Vibes Life and the author of The Voice of God Within. I am a licensed and certified life coach, and I am passionate about helping women come alive through radical self-love. So I want to go through a quick scenario as kind of a springboard of what I want to lead into as far as navigating triggers, so you'll kind of understand where this is coming from. So perhaps you're having a conversation with your significant other. You guys are talking, and it brings up some things inside of you that you want to share with them or open up to them, or some new things you've learned or some things that you've been experiencing, and you start opening your heart up a little bit more, and maybe some things that are very on your mind and very maybe important to you. They might not even be real important, but just something that is very interesting to you even. And you just open up and you go through a whole spiel with this partner. And then when you're done, they're quiet. They don't even nod their head. They don't even say, that's interesting, or nothing. They're just quiet. And immediately you feel inside. You want to say right away, hello, am I talking to a wall? Which maybe you've done something like that in the past. Now this could be any kind of situation. It could be maybe you're having a conversation with them and they just insert something really rude and degrading toward you in it. And again, you just feel, all right? So that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about these times when we are trying to navigate through a difficult relationship and we feel like we're gaining some ground. We're doing really good. And then suddenly we're just so triggered and it feels so intense that we almost feel like, I cannot continue to live with this person. Urgh. So the first thing I want you to remember is that whenever you are triggered about something, it is because you have a deep emotional wound around this particular trigger. So it's like if somebody came up to you and slapped you on the back, kind of patted you, hey, how you doing? And you had a really bad sunburn and you just went, don't touch me, you know, and it hurts. It's painful. Sometimes, though, somebody can know you have that sunburn and still come up and act real innocent about it and go, hey, and know that you have that sunburn. And then walk away and go, oh, you know, act like they had no idea. As soon as we react to this person, we are giving away our power. We are allowing them to succeed at exactly what they set out to do, and that was to hurt us. Even though they might not put it in those words, that was to make us feel bad, to make us realize that maybe what we were saying is completely uninteresting or stupid, or whatever they're trying to do in doing this to us. So it's very important, number one, that you recognize that you've been triggered, and that why you are triggered is because you have a wound around this trigger. So the first thing to do is to take a deep breath and not to say anything, to just calm down as much as you can by breathing deeply, that first initial reaction that you have rising in you so you don't react. And then once you got that calmed down enough, ask yourself, why am I triggered by this? Where is this bothering me? And perhaps it's bothering you. You would say, well, it bothers me because it makes me feel like I'm not important. It makes me feel like what I have to say is stupid or completely uninteresting. What that tells you is that you have a wound somewhere from your past, usually in your formative years is where it began, of feeling unimportant, of feeling like you are not interesting, of feeling whatever the message is you're telling yourself behind this trigger, this thing that makes, whatever it's making you feel like. You have a wound around that. And in my course, Genuine Self-Love, we go into our core wounds and we learn how to rewrite them. And what I've learned to do is when I get triggered in this type of a way, is I have learned to recognize that, see, oh my gosh, there's my core wound again coming up. What was that message it told me? And then go back to the new message I rewrote and say, no, this is what's true for me now. That is no longer valid at all. That's what I had learned, and I overwrote that. But even when you rewrite a core wound, you still have to, you're still sometimes going to be triggered by it. Eventually, it will heal, and you will get stronger as you practice this. But in the beginning, it takes time for healing to take place. It's a process. So even if you haven't gone in and learned your core wound, you're still going to have a little bit of a message that's around it. And then you can tell yourself, okay, so I may not know where. I wouldn't even go into the narrative of where that wound came from so much as just saying, okay, somewhere I was wounded deeply. You might know right away where it was. But if you don't try to start, okay, going down that line. Well, where did that start? Where did that happen? And yeah. Because you're just going to, again, grow that trigger, okay, at that point, because that's not where you're at right now. Where you're at right now is you just need to calm that trigger down so that you don't spiral with it. And just going into the narrative of it is going to cause a little bit more spiraling. It might cause it in a different way, but it will. So rather than do that, just acknowledge it. Acknowledge, okay, that's what it's telling me. And then ask yourself, is that true? Am I unimportant? No, that's not true. Am I uninteresting? No, that's not true, because this is very interesting to me. So somebody, even if it's just me, finds it very interesting. So am I just uninteresting? No, that's not true. And once you can just calm it down that way, then again, do some of your self-soothing techniques. I have some videos. I'll leave a link for it in the description below if you want to watch my video on how to self-soothe. So again, go into some deep breathing, go into sometimes you can do some tapping, EFT tapping. There's a lot of videos on that. Whatever it is that will help calm your central nervous system down. And then remember, again, that they are projecting their misery onto you. And especially if they have strong narcissistic tendencies. What a narcissist will never do, or rarely ever do, is admit that they have their own issues. Because again, like I've said in previous videos, they're incapable of that, because to admit that means that in their mind that there's something deeply wrong with them. And so they have learned to do, what they have learned to do is to project, when they feel miserable, to project that out on everybody else. Basically, the reason I'm miserable is because this house is a freaking mess. The reason I feel horrible is because, you talk too much, or whatever, or you never get over it, or that they learn to project their own inner misery and their own inability to meet their own needs and to feel important within their own self, because maybe they didn't receive it. They want us to give it to them. And when we don't, they can't meet it themselves, then they get angry and they project out onto us their misery. And our only protection against that projection is to remember what I had said before, that there's a two-way mirror there, and that you look at them as really seeing that what they're looking at is themselves in the mirror. They're really not seeing you, they are seeing themselves. And to remember that, so that you can just reflect that back. Your reaction to it, what? How come you're not listening to me? You're not even paying attention, all that, right? gives them an opportunity to let that projection come in and you to absorb that and to take that on. But your disengagement, what that does is exactly what they're trying to do with ignoring you. It just puts it back on them. They'll drop it, basically. They'll let it go. And then you find yourself moving on in life, and that trigger is not wrapped itself around your entire life and your entire relationship, and you're just in this spiral of anger back and forth now. But you've kind of it's just dissolved. It's gone back to him. You've not allowed it into your space, and it's dissolved. There's a lot of advice in relationship about maybe not addressing something when your emotions are really high, but going back to it and not just leaving it. And in some cases that is very valid and very necessary, but in some cases it's not. And in a case such as this, it is not valid and necessary, especially if you are choosing to continue a relationship with somebody that you know is not meeting your needs, but you're choosing to meet your own needs and stay with them because you love them and care about them, and you really don't care about leaving and finding another relationship or living on your own or for whatever reason. It's not going to necessarily always be the wisest choice to try to bring every little problem, every little thing up that bothered you. What is even wiser is realizing, how can I meet my own need? So what was the need what was it that I was looking for when I was talking to them about this and sharing this? I was looking maybe to process what I was learning. I was looking to get some feedback on some of the things that I was seeing, maybe some intelligent feedback. So how can I meet that need myself? Maybe I have a friend that I could, talk about this stuff, or maybe I have some people on social media that are more into this type of thing that I can join a group or have a discussion somewhere else, or just listen to other people about it. Maybe I can write about it, write it down, and process that way rather than talking. Just find another way to meet the need that you were trying to get met when you were having this conversation and talking to this person about this particular subject, or whatever it is that you were triggered by. You could take any trigger that you are going through and you can apply these steps to it. And again, just to recap, it is to first not to react, acknowledge that you've been triggered, to ask why it's triggering you, what belief do you have around it, resolve that belief by saying that's not true and this is why it's not true, by self-soothing yourself, and then by taking the need that you were trying to get met and finding a way to meet that need yourself. Because usually if we have a trigger, we also have a need behind it. So again, this might have been, we needed to be told that, that isn't a valid and interesting point of view that you have there, and they didn't meet that need in any way. So where can we get that need met, or can we just resolve it within ourselves? So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave your comments below, and I'll talk to you soon.